Good evening. Welcome to the Woodhaven Brownstown Board of Education regular meeting of Tuesday, October 12th, called to order at 5:30 p.m. Mrs. Abear, could you please take roll?
Mrs. Pimer,
Here.
Mrs. Burton Kelsey,
Here.
Mr. Harris,
Here.
Mrs. Paget,
Here.
Mr. Burke,
Here.
Mrs. Bauer Perry, Mrs. Berry,
Here.
Mr. Greathead,
Here.
Mr. Belcher,
Here.
Mr. Roberts,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Ms. Vespremi,
Here.
Mr. Salah,
Here.
Mr. Satterfield. Thank you.
Thank you. Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. Our next item is the approval of the agenda. The suggested motion is to approve the agenda as recommended. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Burke, supported by Paget. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the recommendation as stated signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carried. Next item, we have hearing of the public. We have two opportunities for members of the community to address the board at our meetings. One would be now for any topics that appear on tonight's agenda. And if you are interested in speaking, there are comment cards over by Mr. Belcher. If you could fill those out and turn those in. And if not, we do have another opportunity towards the end of the meeting for topics that do not appear on tonight's agenda. I don't believe we have any. Okay, our next item is the consent agenda. The suggested motion is to approve the consent agenda as recommended. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Burton, supported by Barry. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the recommendation as stated signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have personnel.
We have personnel recommendations this evening in two areas. They are support staff and Schedule B. In support staff, the suggested motion is that the Board of Education approve the employment of Amber Smith, Special Services Paraprofessional, effective October 13th, 2021, as recommended.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Burton, supported by Burke. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving the recommendation as stated signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Mr. Roberts?
Mrs. Smith is here with us this evening. She's going to join us with a solid knowledge and understanding of the needs of students with IEPs based on her own family's experience with special services, and she will bring a unique perspective into supporting our students with special needs.
Thank you. For Schedule B positions, the suggested motion is that the Board of Education approve the following employments en masse, and they are all effective October 13th, 2021, as recommended. They are Ronnie Austin, JV Girls Basketball Head Coach, Robert Collins, JV Boys Basketball Head Coach, Michael Finley Jr., JV Boys Basketball Assistant Coach, Denial Hall, Varsity Boys Basketball Assistant Coach, Abby Lorenz, Varsity Girls Soccer Head Coach, Alexander Robinson, Varsity Hockey Assistant Coach, and Aaron Schur, Freshman Boys Basketball Assistant Coach.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Burton,
Support.
supported by Barry, was it?
Yeah.
Supported by Barry. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the recommendation as stated signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Mr. Roberts?
We do have a number of the coaches who are here with us this evening. Coach Collins is here, sitting in the front row. Coach Collins is an entrepreneur with his own company of Robert Courtney and Associates, and he has been the Trenton JV Boys Basketball coach since 2016. And he was waiting for the right opportunity to join the Woodhaven coaching staff, and we're excited to have him come over. Coach Finley is sitting right next to him, and I think they were a tandem pair. He has been the Trenton JV assistant basketball coach since 2016, so he joins Coach Collins in the transition to Woodhaven, and he currently works for Bentley Roll-Off Trailers in Romulus. Daniel Hall Coach Hall was a four-year varsity player for Madonna University, a starter for over 2 of those years. He's coached several youth teams as well as Taylor Prep, and we look forward to him bringing his defensive-minded IQ to the team. Coach Hall is right there. Coach Lorenz is also with us this evening, and she's served the past year as the assistant varsity coach, and she looks to take the next step forward in leading the girls' varsity team, so we're excited. And I believe that is everyone.
Thank you for joining this evening and welcome aboard. Item number 5 is a discussion item. We provided the Board of Education with the remainder of the 2021-22 school year and 2022-23 Board of Education meeting schedules. As noted in written report to the Board of Education, the October 26th board meeting will be held here in the administrative building as opposed to Yake Elementary School. Some board members had suggested that we consider delaying our return to having the second board meetings of the month at school buildings until COVID transmission rates, as reported by CDC and used by the Wayne County Health Department, decrease. I wanted to afford the Board of Education the opportunity to discuss that, especially as we are developing the 2022-23 board meeting schedule that the Board of Education votes on at its organizational meeting in January. So again, that is in January. If you're not prepared or comfortable discussing it this evening, we can certainly afford, we have time. It's just something that I want us to collectively talk about here.
Prior to January, though, for meetings in the schools you're looking for?
Well, Yake is the last, the one, let me start over, rewind. We do not have second board meetings in November and December. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting back into the schools. I'm okay with doing it in January as long as we're following all the same protocols we follow here.
Yeah, I guess I'd be interested in the building, how the buildings feel about it. I would like to as well. Especially if maybe the presentations are kept to smaller groups, or, we used to have so many students and parents come out, which is great, but if we're trying to, do some social distancing or whatever, maybe it's smaller, but I miss being in the building, so.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, a preference?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm okay with doing it this way, and I also, to Jen's point, we may need to have some additional protocols if we go back into the schools that we haven't even had a chance to think about, but I also would like to get back to seeing people in their home locations.
Okay. Mr. Burke, would you like to add anything to the discussion? All right, thank you. All right, Mel and I will work on it from here and include it in the future superintendent's report. Thank you. Under item 6, business, new business, approval of purchase of equipment for food service program. We are recommending the purchase of 12 Crestcore mobile heated cabinets for food service operations. I do apologize that the memo and board book indicates that we were recommending the purchase of 10. 10 of the 12 cabinets that we're purchasing are customized in such a way that they generate Energy Star rebates, which is why there was confusion in Mr. Belcher's memo, so I do apologize for that. The 12 heated cabinets will be dispersed as follows: 1 per elementary school, 2 per secondary school, and 1 for concessions. This equipment is supplemental equipment, meaning that they will enhance food service operations. They are not being used to replace existing equipment. Funds used to purchase these heating cabinets will be from the food service fund, and the total purchase price will be $58,502. The suggested motion is that the Board of Education approve the purchase of 12 Crestcore mobile heated cabinets, an amount not to exceed $58,502, utilizing food service funds.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Paget, supported by Burton. Any discussion?
We may have talked about this in our facilities meeting, but I don't recall, how long do these last? I mean, are these like 5 years?
About a 10-year life.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, all in favor of approving the recommendation as stated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item is approval of central office contracts. Recommended adjustments in central office contracts for administrative assistants and/or administrators in the areas of salary, leave days, and health insurance benefits have been shared with the Board of Education. Specifically, salary adjustments for administrative assistants that keeps their compensation in line with other support staff positions that are covered by collective bargaining agreements. And language changes in certification compensation, leave days, and health insurance benefits for central office administrators. Again, similar to those in areas that are provided to similar employees covered by collective bargaining agreements. Therefore, the suggested motion is that the Board of Education approve the adjustments to central office contracts for administrative assistants and administrators as recommended.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Barry, supported by Burton. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the recommendation as stated signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries.
Item number 7, under superintendent's reports, the following resignations have been accepted. Brian DeMidio, varsity boys soccer head coach, effective 10/4/21, and Brett LeBate, middle school wrestling head coach, also effective 10/4/21. The next Wayne Risa Parent Advisory Committee meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October 14th via Zoom, and the topic will be Advocacy 101. Information on that meeting and other Parent Advisory Committee information can be found at the Wayne Risa website, risa.net, under Teaching and Learning, and then follow that to Special Education. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have hearing of the public. If anybody'd like to speak. Okay, with nothing, board member comments? Quiet meeting. No one? Okay, must be a record time. With nothing else, we will adjourn this meeting at 5:42 PM. Our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, October 26th at 5:30 PM here at the board office.